3, 2, 1.
Here we go! Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame with Dawn Branch, where we bring industry professionals to your home where they can discuss their journey and their career. Tonight's guest is none other than Mr. David King. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
So before we get started, I have some sponsors that I have to thank. I want to thank TwinkletoesApparel.com for this wonderful shirt. Yes, it's off the shoulder, very fashionable. She's a female entrepreneur, and we want to support her here. She also gave me, which you're going to get some yourself, Mr. David, these wonderful shoes. It says Twinkle Toes. And these things, let me tell you, it's like walking on air. Fabulous. So we're going to send you some. Just give me your size. And the last thing from Twinkle Toes Apparel, throw this in your bag to get rid of all of the odors from your shoes and whatnot. So thank you again, TwinkletoesApparel.com. Now back to the show, right? So back to the show. We have the fabulous Mr. David King. He is an educator. He is a dancer. He's a choreographer and the master of ballet. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes. So tell the audience where you're from, how you got started, and go.
Obviously my name is David. I was originally born in South Korea, and I was adopted to America when I was, I think 3 months old, actually. So I don't really have that connection back home. I grew up in Southern California and discovered dance and had all of that. And then I left dance. My career came to an end. And then, it's a very public story, but my father ended up passing away and I started a blog. And that blog exploded, and now a Ballet Education is what it is.
Now, can you tell the audience how to find your blog? What is the name of your blog and what are you having?
Yeah, so you can visit our website. It's www.balletaeducation.com. On our website, you can find everything from lists of schools to train at, technique tips, how to maneuver inside a ballet career, ballet news. I think that's one of our biggest pulls, is getting inside scoops from company members and directors. And just in general, we try to put as much information out there as we can.
Okay, I don't want to skip over the importance of how you're able to give this information because how you're qualified to do so. So tell the audience a little bit about your qualifications.
Yeah, so I grew up, well, I actually didn't grow up dancing. Hold on, recap. My sister started dance. Our pediatrician's wife had a dance school, and most of my siblings have severe special needs. And she was like, so one of my sisters was born with what's called Larson syndrome. Her knee joint was born backwards, so her legs bent up. And she had multiple surgeries to correct it. And our pediatrician's wife one day was just in the office and was just like, she should do dance. It'd be good for her. So she gave free lessons to 2 of my sisters to come dance. And I was traveling back and forth with my mom. And then one day she said, we have a boys class, you should just put him in. And so she put me in and I kind of did that. It's a very small school. It's literally the best school ever. It's like a super safe environment. I love her, I adore her. But then she told me I needed to go, if I wanted to pursue dance, I needed to go to a ballet school. Both of her daughters were professional ballet dancers, or we were all the same age, but we're training to be a professional ballet dancer. So she was like, you should just go to this school. I've already arranged a full scholarship for you to go. So I went to that ballet school. And then I realized that ballet school, it just wasn't working out for me. I have a very difficult body for dance. The school is known for making very high caliber balancing dancers. Darcy Kissler came from the school, Kipling Houston. So it just wasn't for me. So I ended up moving to Torrance to go to South Bay Ballet, which is Diane Lauritsen's school, where like Misty Copeland is from there, Ashley Ellis, like it's a very influential school in Southern California. And so I went there for a little bit, and then I got anxious and I was like, I want to get out there. I'm going to audition. I decided that at a very young age, I was able to go away. Um, and I did all of that. And then I ended up realizing that there were gaps in my training because I was a boy. And so I think a lot of time with boy dancers, we make a lot of excuses and be like, oh, it's okay. He's a boy. And so I ended up going to CPYB for a year to really refine everything that I was missing. And then I moved on and I joined Ballet Chicago Studio Company, and that was really wonderful. And then again, not a secret, but I ended up choosing my personal life over my professional life. So me and my partner at the time, he got into graduate school in Minnesota. So I ended up dancing for Minnesota Dance Theater. And then I tore my labrum severely. I actually like completely damaged my hip. And so it was all over. And I packed up my bags and I started working in fashion. And I was really enjoying that. And that was really wonderful. My father ended up passing away. And again, not a secret, it's all over my blog. I became a mess. I threw away my career. I made terrible choices. I did not handle it well. So I started a blog and it was anonymous. I was watching Gossip Girl. And this is why everything is signed XOXO, a Ballet Education. I was watching Gossip Girl and I was like, this show is genius. And I like kind of grew up with it, kind of not. But I was like, the idea of the internet influencing our lives was about to happen. So my blog has been around for 7 years. So this is like right when Instagram is getting started and all this. And so I was like, this is a really interesting platform. So because I have so many friends dancing in companies and we are just like talk and vent, I decided that I was going to publish anonymously and just sign an XOXO Ballet Education. And then all of a sudden it kind of exploded. And I was like, I woke up one day and I think I had like 400 emails in my inbox with people writing in like crazy things. Like I couldn't even verify if they were true or not. It was just like straight up crazy.
Can you give us an example? It's a PG show, but just give us an example.
It was just like who was getting promoted, like the casting and who is being rehearsed before the casting was even announced. Like if there was like a secret, people put people on blast and it happened so fast. And it went anonymous for an entire year. And then I got in trouble because I ended up using a photo that wasn't copyright free. So like, as we've all learned, copyright is super important. And I do understand this from working inside of the fashion publishing industry. I genuinely thought this photo was part of the press packet. I made a mistake. I published a photo. They did get upset and asked me to remove it and remove the post associated with it. I decided not to remove the post, but instead I decided to just draw the photo. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, whatever. Drew it, smacked it up, and then all of a sudden, like, everyone was into these drawings. And then so like ABT asked me to do their artwork for the Met season one year. And then I just started getting all these art requests. And then someone asked, can you explain technique? And I didn't want to reveal who I was. So I decided to draw the techniques, which is what started all of these like technical drawings that I did, which later turned into a book. And then finally, there was a lot of pressure to go public about who was publishing all of this information. And it was funny because people would be like, is he a Russian? Is he European? Like, what is going on? So I kind of like came out, I guess. And it was kind of like, just because there was so much backlash. And I did it. And then I went because I was like, I'm here, there, whatever. And I really had to decide what I was doing. Like, so I was already back in the classroom teaching, and I was trying to just figure out what I was doing. And then my godmom, who actually just passed away from COVID, she is a dance teacher. She was like, you have so much information because you had a bad body type. You have studied so meticulously on rehabbing yourself, on all of these things, that you should use your platform for education. So that is how, and she was like, you already have the word education in your title. You might as well actually educate and not just gossip. Um, so I did, and it kind of turned into this like huge thing that I never thought in a million years. And I have been invited to the most amazing schools around the world to study their pedagogies and work with all these amazing teachers and master teachers to help me better understand ballet as this living and breathing art that is constantly changing. And so it just kept spiraling and getting bigger. And then the magazine came and just everything came. And then finally, um, I had opened up a really small clinic. It was literally a 14 by 14 room. And dancers would be flying in from everywhere so I could look at them.
I remember that, and I know you from outside, but yes, I
Yeah.
follow you. Yeah,
And all these people were like, if there's all these mistakes and I'm not getting them fixed, why don't you have your own school so you can help fix things? And I was like, I'm never going to own a school again. I did it in LA. It was really great. Never again. And I kept saying, never again, never again, never again. And then, I had a moment again where I was like, what are you using your platform for? And what are you actually doing? Because a lot of kids need help, especially in the world of, I don't want to say classical ballet and I don't want to say ballet, but I'm going to say like in this Eurocentric art form, there are a lot of people who don't fit into that. And you should be able to help them because you can. So we opened up a school. We decided we were only going to hire teachers of color. We were so that an entire generation could be trained by dancers or educators of color and make an impact. And so, yeah, and we also decided like we are not going to pick on body type. We're actually going to do the opposite, and we're going to pick kids based on their flaws and what they need to work on. So again, this is really public information, and I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but for your audience, our school is based, like if you have a good body, if you're already an award-winning dancer, if you already have all of this acclaim, this is not the school for you. We are looking for kids who are fundamentally interesting. We are looking for kids who move really well, who know how to tell a story, but have problems, whether that's they don't have amazing feet, they don't have amazing knees, they might be really tight, they might be really far behind. We have a lot of people who come really far behind, and you're here for 2 years, maybe 3, maybe 1, and the goal is to get out of here. The goal is to like come fix your shenanigans and then go attack ballet world or
now
your.
I have two questions for you. Your partner's name, you keep referencing we, and then I want to show the photos of you actually working with the kids. So while I set it up, let us know about your partner.
So Ashley Baker she is my best friend. And she's this incredible teacher. And I met her 5 years ago. I was asked to become dean of a charter school here in Arizona. And she was working at the time, and she just showed all of this promise and talent. And I loved her dance story. She's extremely educated, especially in dance academics, but she just critically thinks and approaches technique in this super kinesiology, somatic practice that is not watered down. So a lot of the times when we get into somatic practices, we say, okay, turnout might not be the most important thing, and we overlook the turnout legs and feet because we're practicing somatically, meaning like healthy and practical for the body. But she still applies it to the rigid standard of what is classical ballet, and it's phenomenal to watch. If you ever see her teach, it's phenomenal.
Hi, Miss Ashley. Hopefully she'll come on the show as
Yeah,
well
I'm sure
another
she
time.
will.
So now we have here, you pictured with one of your students. Exactly
Yeah.
what is it you're working on? Let us know what this is about.
Okay, so this is Landis. She just attended the School of American Ballet. Um, her issue is that she struggles with really tight hips. You would not realize it from this photo. But when we got her, her arabesque was like below 90.
Wow.
Yeah, and so in this photo, it was in the middle of an adagio combination of how to shift your weight forward so that the leg has space to come up.
So when you say forward, audience members, look, students, do you see, look at the alignment. See how important that is? Sorry,
Yeah,
I just had
it's so important. It is.
Okay. All right, and now we have this one.
This is a really special photo, a very special photo, actually. And Ashley actually took it. Ashley took all the last two photos. These are the first two students to commit to clinic when I left the previous school that I was at, which will remain nameless.
Sure.
They are the first two students to come with me. And they both just signed their contracts. So Lauren is going to Boston Ballet and Belle is joining Sarasota Ballet. Belle graduated with Royal Ballet Upper School and was a Prix de Lausanne candidate coached by me. And then Lauren also is a YGP winner. She was supposed to go to JKO school on full ride, but the pandemic happened. So she spent another year with me. So being able to prepare her to go out for a job was really special because normally I don't work with kids above the age of 16. So both of these women are 19. So being able to work with them inside of this like new facility, you know, Belle has been at Royal for 3 years. Lauren is about to go to Boston. I think it just, and the fact that they are two very different body types, but technically they look identical. The alignment is identical. The heads are identical. And Belle graduated Royal Upper School. Lauren graduated Clinic. I just think it's a nice full circle. I think the fact that Belle is British, Lauren is African American, and I'm Asian, it makes this photo even more special for me. But yeah, so I was just coaching them. I think we're in the middle of like pirouettes or something.
And I love that because it's like all different nationalities, but it's one technique. So forget the body type. It's about the technique. And you can make anybody look this way based on your coaching. And I think it's awesome.
And they have very different bodies. It's really incredible.
Right. But it's the same because of you. Love you. Okay. Uh-oh. Ow, this hurts. What are we doing here?
Okay. So this photo got a lot of backlash. I am not actually putting my full body weight on her. If you actually look, the most of my body weight is actually in my feet. So when we're stretching, and you can see the boy behind, we're going to talk about proper stretching. When we are stretching, we like to take easy shortcuts because no one likes to feel uncomfortable. And sometimes when we round the spine forward, the pelvis likes to shift and tuck. And that creates not the most ideal situation for stretching, especially if you want to get results. So here, Gabby, who again, when we got her, she did not even have her splits. She has gotten to the point where she has become so flexible that she's fallen into the bad habit of sinking into her lower back. So here we're just trying to keep the space in the spine and hips as long as possible. And then I'm not actually pushing down with my hands. My fingers are in between her ribs and I ask her to breathe in and separate my fingers through her ribs. So
thank you.
Preface that. But we love to stretch and condition.
Yes, that seems okay.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
so
Okay, here we
this is
go.
a tiny baby bean. This summer we got to have kids under the age of 11 and they were a hoot and a half. And again, understanding squareness while you stretch is super, super important, especially for saving your hips. Especially if you're coming from a non-Eurocentric piece of ballet or dance. A lot of the times the squareness in the hips, especially for a lot of competitive dancers, is harder to achieve because they are so stretched out that they don't feel the squareness. And so this little bean, we were just trying to help her get situated and square.
So let me ask you, because of her age and retaining the information, do they take notes? Do you video how to do this? How do they retain it?
Yeah, so with the littles, we have found that muscle memory is the quickest way to get results in retention. And the way we do that actually is by placing them into the proper position. Like they don't figure it out on their own. It's just too many bad habits can get learned. So by putting kids into the correct position from the get-go and doing it daily, the placement becomes a lot cleaner, quicker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. What do we have next?
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay,
this is
here's your partner.
Yeah, so this is Ashley. So Ashley is really known for getting girls to get their alignment and flexibility at a very fast rate. Like you can come to clinic and not have your splits and not have an arabesque. And after a month of working with Ashley, your arabesque is at 90, you're turned out, you're stretched out, you're ready to go for ballet. So this is actually one of our new students for season 3. She is coming from a competitive dance background. And so Ashley is showing her that we do not stretch with the leg outside of the hip socket, so the working leg, and making sure that the alignment goes up and forward versus trying to crank it back against the pelvis. So you create space in the leg and hamstring versus putting pressure inside the hip joint, either going bone to bone or overstretching a tendon.
Awesome. I couldn't try to do that now if you paid me.
I don't think I could either. I can barely touch my toes on a good day.
Oh, now here, what is going on here? Glenda,
Okay.
the good witch, what's going on?
Yeah, so because of a ballet education in the magazine, we are very lucky to create really beautiful editorials. And photography, because of fashion, is a passion of mine, and it's a huge passion of Ashley's. And so we get to produce the most amazing content for the website. And so Evelyn is like, the reason why she's dressed like Cinderella, no copyright to Disney. She really had this Cinderella story of she was 16 years old. She was at a very well-known school. She went out at 16, auditioned, and got nothing. Like rejected from everything. And she was like, I don't understand what happened. At 14 and 15, I got all these acceptances. But now at 16, I don't know what just happened. Can I come to clinic? And, you know, she came to clinic and we had to fix a lot of stuff. And then by the end of this year, she had over 11 offers, including jobs. So she's going to be joining Orlando Ballet at
She's
17
coming
years old.
here.
Yeah, so at 17 years old, girl got herself a full contract. And, you know, it was just this magical Cinderella story of hard work and perseverance and understanding that it's not always about winning, because at YGP this season, she didn't win. And then she was still invited to finals and she made it to finals and she worked her butt off and made final round. She still did not win at final round, but through YGP, I think she got 9 scholarship offers and the job to Orlando. So
congratulations to both of you. Now I'm seeing, this is what I would love to see from you guys, some dance flashcards. I think that's a great idea in terms of technique and body alignment. Put that into the universe. I like that idea.
I will.
All right. So I'm coming to the part of the show where I have a segment that's called Ask the Teacher. A lot of times students are afraid when they have workshops with professionals to come up to them and actually ask them questions. So I give them an opportunity to do it here. So here's one of my the people that won, one of my old students that has a question for you.
Hi, Mr. King. My name is Kylie Taylor. I'm 14 years old and I've been dancing for 11 years. I've primarily focused on technique and performance in my dance training, but I've noticed that others in my generation have placed more emphasis on competition. So I just want to know, what effect, if any, do you think that this competition mindset will have on the future of dance? Hi, Mr. King. My name is Kylie.
Okay, Miss Kylie. Y'all are trying to get me in trouble with these questions. When it comes to ballet competitions, and I say this time and time again, ballet competitions do not make or break a career. They don't. They really have no weight in terms of it is either like a yes or no mandatory black and white thing. Competitions for ballet specifically are a vehicle for exposure, and it is a vehicle to test a kid. We are asking kids to do variations that were built for women in their 20s and 30s. We are asking these children to do variations and point techniques that are reserved for the best of the best female and male dancers inside of a company. We are asking children to carry an entire evening's ballet work based on 3 minutes and asking them, can you handle that pressure? So in terms of that, I think it builds tenacity and it builds an edge, because having that drive and that competitive mindset does help, I think, especially inside of a company, especially if you're in a big company. What I don't like that has happened in competition, and I do take fault in this also by highly publicizing competitions on our blog and rewarding dancers who do well at competition by featuring them inside the magazine. And I do understand that that is a very large part of trying to balance making dance for everyone. But the thing about these competitions and what people need to understand is that these competitions accelerate careers, because when the Youth America Grand Prix just announced, I saw over 6,000 kids last year. And, at finals, that was narrowed down to 500 kids, who could financially afford it and were talented enough to go to finals. So again, it narrows down the pool smaller. And then we reward 30 young girls and boys to go to final round. And those 30 young kids are beyond exceptional, and the whole world gets to see them. And it puts so much emphasis on these kids that they can use that platform to skyrocket their career. The fact that Antonio Casalino is 18 years old and signed as a soloist, that Margarita, his partner, is 16 years old and signed as a soloist. We are watching the less than 1% of dancers who are going to have that super fast, like, you're in, you go, to these dancers who are going to help redefine the technique, redefine the expectation, redefine all of these things. And it is exciting to watch. But at the same time, it's not just competition. New York City Ballet is putting a lot of press on, like, Mira Rodon, who also comes from Southern California. She joined City Ballet at 17, and at 20 years old, she's already taking on huge solo and principal roles. So again, that is not the normal. Most of us sit in the court of ballet for a good 5 to 10 years, and you pray every day, like, today's gonna be the day I'm gonna get my chance. But I think competition lets us diagnose potential very, very fast. And I want to be very clear, and if anyone takes anything away from that question, especially Kylie, is that the competition mindset and how it's influencing this generation is a double-edged sword. It's making dance more accessible. It is making dance more visible, especially on platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. But it also has a lot of negative side effects. So I'm talking about, like, comparing yourself, self-esteem issues, all of that. And so the thing about art is it's always like a double-edged sword, right? you can be doing something groundbreaking and make people uncomfortable and pushing out of the box, but that also might be isolating others, or you might be trying to be really inclusive of a situation, but you might necessarily be holding someone back who could excel at a faster rate to get into a company at a young age, so that during their prime years, it's phenomenal, right? Because, you know, most dancers hit their prime, especially for like women, they hit their prime like at 23. And so if at 23 you get the opportunity to like really go for these huge roles,
yeah,
that's incredible.
go for it.
Know?
Yeah. Well, you said something that resonated with me, the fact that if you can afford to continue.
Yeah.
Now that's huge. And before we get to the next student, I want you to just touch upon how expensive this stuff is and how you recognize that. And you actually do a lot for the inner city children. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So, backstory, I'm one of 12 kids. Of the 12, 9 are adopted. Of the 9, 7 have severe special needs. So money was always going to be tight. My father did make really good money, but when you have 12 kids
Right.
with special needs, with no government assistance, because my dad really did believe that he didn't need to take away from someone else. And my parents really always instilled giving back. And my godmom, same thing. She had a huge elite school in Orange County, and she decided to say, forget it, dropped it all, and went into public education at a Title I middle school, where I actually got my first teaching job. So giving back was always really important. And I guess in my head, when I was younger, I didn't understand money, because really, who does? Like, you know, 34 years old, and I'm still like, how does money work? But I don't think a kid really understands the cost. And I don't think a lot of parents understand the costs that are associated with ballet or dance in general. And it's not just dance, and it's not just the competition fees. It's the physio appointments. It's if you need to go see a chiropractor or cryotherapy, or if you get injured, rehab is even more expensive than, especially sports rehab, because of how American healthcare works. And you are locking yourself into a career and a profession that is very front loaded, meaning the bulk of money that you're going to be spending is between ages like 10 and 14, 15, 16, maybe 18. And not everyone has the ability or access to these resources, not just because of the financial situation, but because a lot of these resources are hard to get to. And so we at a Ballet Education, when I started making products and selling them, and I was making all of this money, and it was really great, and I realized, once again, what am I using my platform for? This is kind of ridiculous. I should be giving back. And after everything that ballet has given to me, and with the public buying my product, I do have an obligation to help keep this industry moving in the right direction. So now we are very lucky that all of the proceeds to our product go to our scholarship fund. Over the last year, we've donated $100,000 in cash. And we didn't even have a nonprofit. We were just like, you need money? You need Pointe Shoes? We're very lucky to be a free distributor. So we're like, if a girl needs Pointe Shoes, hit us up. We can send.
So let's talk right behind you, Pointe Shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So at our school, in another part of the suite, because we have like an entire building, we have a Pointe Shoe clinic.
You just threw that in. Oh, we have an entire building.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So we're really lucky. We have a Pointe Shoe clinic where girls can come and we'll assess their pointe work. And is the shoe right for them? How do we modify that shoe? A lot of schools and a lot of ballet teachers, especially, again, not coming from a very heavy Eurocentric ballet background, a lot of people don't know how to modify pointe shoes. And so when it comes to modifying pointe shoes, I find that Freeds are the easiest. to modify. I think they're a lot more moldable and breakable. So if your foot is wider or your foot has like a different toe shape, or if you need a longer vamp, there are so many ways to cheat your shoes before spending thousands of dollars on customs, which I know everyone wants custom point shoes, but like you have to order 15 pairs at a time. They're not cheap.
Wow.
So we created the Pointe Shoe Clinic so that one, we could help kids who can't afford point shoes get point shoes, and also help kids understand how a point shoe really works and how it can be changed and modified. Because unless you're at the School of American Ballet or Royal Ballet School, you're not going to get a custom pair. So just understanding how to break them in. A lot of people are sewing their ribbons wrong. A lot of them sew them too low. They're like, why does my heel keep slipping off? And I was like, because girl, you cannot sew them like below the seam line. Like that's not how fabric works. That's not
This
how.
is almost frightening. I'm nervous. Like, okay, now I know out here in Orlando, when you go, the teacher normally goes with you to get fitted for the shoe. Is it because of the online? It's cheaper to purchase online that they don't go to the school to get it fitted properly? Like, what's the disconnect?
The disconnect is that people are greedy, and there are people who will push a certain point shoe because the markup is a lot better. We see that a lot here in Arizona. People also pick the cheapest shoe a lot of times. And so while that shoe is good and might be working for one person or whatever, if you have a room of 30 girls on point or 20 girls on point, every one of their foot shape is different. Every one of their musculature is different. How the nervous system responds, like our brain saying point your feet, is different. So we have a lot of options in point shoes. So you're able to pick and choose. And I think a lot of times, based on the teacher, they're gonna pick something that's familiar to them. Originally, I was first introduced to Freeds because I did come from a balancing school. And then for a while, I really, really, really was into blocks. I was like all about them. I was like, there are so many options and they're affordable and everyone can get them. But then I was realizing that for a lot of really younger dancers, they weren't actually understanding how point shoes work, because a lot of those shoes, the technology is built in. So like in some of the block shoes, the padding is built in or whatever. And so I had to like take a step back and be like, okay, start at the beginning. And I think the Freed is the most versatile in terms of customizing, so that as that shoe breaks in or as that dancer gets stronger, they understand how to articulate what they need out of a shoe, right? So if a gainer minden is already arched with a flat box, you're not going to understand what it is to either bevel on point or to be completely over, because you physically can't. The box is pre-shaped and completely flat. So for some girls, we do have girls who wear gainers and we do have girls who wear like Russian points and Grishkos, but they were able to articulate what they needed out of the shoe because we made them start in Freeds.
Okay, so now we're going to go back and see what my second student has a question for you.
Perfect.
Mr. King, I'm Sunny Benziger, and I'm 13 years old. I was wondering, what inspires you about the performing arts?
Okay, Miss Sunny. That's a really... Okay, I might get like murdered for this. I might be put on blast. I feel like this like soundbite might go wrong. Okay. I am actually not inspired by the performing arts.
I get it.
I'm going to say. So when I watch performing arts, it is entertaining. I love it. I love ballet more than anything else in the world. I've dedicated my adult life to ballet, but that doesn't inspire me. What actually inspires me are kids who work hard, kids who are smart, kids who show up to the studio every day and know they're going the uphill battle. That's what inspires me about making sure that art is accessible. I love to read. My undergraduate degree is in comparative literature. Books inspire me. Being able to have this like invisible in your head conversation with these fictional characters and get inside someone else's perspective or someone else's learning experience. To me, that's inspiring. I love film, not just to like watch movies and veg out, but the way things are filmed. Color grading, I think, is one of the most overlooked professions. But like understanding that what you see on film is not how you see things in real life. Like it's been completely edited, color, shadowing, saturation. I think that is really this amazing new version of art and being able to edit real life. And I think that's what inspires me. I love the performing arts because it's entertaining. I love classical music. I love avant-garde performance theater. But for me, it's entertainment. It's a chance to go have an experience. I get dressed up, I put on my fancy clothes, my fancy shoes, draw in the eyebrows, and I go to the theater to be entertained. But I don't necessarily know that it's where I get my inspiration because I get it from kids and I get it from life.
Love that.
I think we're missing. If I could like re-loop, kids nowadays make dance their life, where they are in the studios 8 to 10 hours a day, which is not how we do it at clinic. We don't dance on the weekends. We only go Monday through Friday, and we only dance 3 hours a day. Because I think life experiences help contribute to who we are as artists. I also think it's good to just be a good, rounded human entering society when you turn 18. But if all you know are the inside of a classroom and competing on stage, I'm gonna say like it may not be the healthiest entering adult world and interacting with different people from different backgrounds. So
now speaking of that, different backgrounds, you were reached out by the one and only Miss Debbie Allen. Oh, if I could ever meet her one day. So let's show the world what's up to for you, okay? And go.
Okay. So this is really, really, really exciting. And this is probably our biggest news of the year. And it's probably like the biggest news of my life. I have never been more excited about anything ever. Yeah, I can tell that 100%. So the Debbie Allen Dance Academy has been this like historic institution in LA. I've auditioned there, I've taken open classes there. Like it's just a part of LA culture. But I think a lot of times when people are thinking of major power player schools on the West Coast, they don't necessarily put Debbie Allen into that category. I think it's definitely like enrichment outreach. I think it's all inclusive and I think it's wonderful and amazing. So Miss Debbie Allen had this program called DADA on Pointe, where once a year for 4 days, she would invite all of these really young, beautiful dancers of color from all around the world to come train with amazing people like Misty Copeland, Tyler Peck, Lauren Anderson. And it was really, really amazing. And then I was watching Hot Chocolate Nutcracker on Netflix, and I was like looking at all these kids and I was like listening to these like stories of like these, like if you've seen the Netflix thing, it's very heartbreaking at the end. Like, and I was just like, you know what? You can help them. I was like, I know this documentary is old and the footage is old, and that one girl is now in Pretty Little Things, the Netflix series. And she went to Complexions, but I was like, you know what? I bet you that if we just restructured the program just a hair differently, I bet you the results could come faster and we could create a solid program. So I was like looking at it, and I was really, really lucky. So one of my best friends is Rasta Thomas. And
shout out to Mr. Rasta.
Yes. He's one of my best friends and we've been through a lot. And so it's not a secret, but Debbie Allen Dance Academy is about to move locations. Shonda Rhimes from Grey's Anatomy and all of that has built her an entire performing arts center. And so there's this process right now of trying to rebuild everything. And so they brought Rasta in to consult, and he was like, you know, I have the person for you, but he's in Arizona. And they put us in touch, and I at first said no.
Did you?
I did.
Okay, stop. Why? What are your reservations?
I have my own school, right? I have a million things between the blog and the products and the drawing.
But you have Ashley. Go.
Yeah. So, and you know, and what was crazy is I couldn't even get a hold of Ashley at the time, because Ashley and her boyfriend decided to go up to this remote mountain and get away. You know, we all need a self week. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, you know, I just don't think. And then Rasta was like, okay, no big deal. And then he was like thinking about it, and he texted me again, and he was like, I really think you should just at least take a meeting. And he was like, it's a brand new state-of-the-art building. Like, this could be you. And then I was like, I also don't necessarily know if it's my place, because I am not African American, and her platform really is about helping young dancers of color. And then he was like, you're still brown. He was like, you're brown, you're educated, and you're at the top of the game right now. Like, just think about it. Like, between her connections and resources and your knowledge, like, think about all of the good you can do. So I said, sure, I'll take a meeting. I thought it was gonna be like, you know, months away. Like, I thought it was gonna be next season. And then I got a call saying, can you be on the 11 o'clock flight to LA? It was like 7 a.m. And I was like, oh, like, we're doing this now. And so I was on the 11 o'clock, and it was the most amazing experience. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but she invited me to her home. And it was just so, and it was so, she was so welcoming and warm. It's everything that you think she is. And she had made all of this food, like huge spread, and super conscious of like my dietary restrictions, because Rasta had told her. And so it was just like this huge welcoming spread. I got to meet her daughter, who is the associate director of the school, and we were all there just sitting in her kitchen. Like, who gets to say that, right? Like, I was just sitting with Debbie Allen in her kitchen talking. And she wanted to know my story, and she wanted to know what I felt could happen and where I thought ballet was moving and where I thought dance was moving. And that's all we had the conversation about. And then I got dropped off at the airport, and while I was at the airport, I got an email from her and said, can I see a full proposal tomorrow? And I was like, what? So I'm like on this like 50-minute flight, like trying to brainstorm. I stayed up all night. Like, I was looking at my clinic model. I was looking at like the socioeconomic status of LA. I was looking at like any information I could find. And this is like at like 1 a.m. Like, everyone is asleep. So I can't like call the school and be like, can I get your numbers and all of that. So I'm literally like freaking out. Ashley's freaking out. It's like 3 a.m. and we're calling each other back and forth, trying to figure out how to build a program that is going to offer ballet training and contemporary training and make this really unique situation happen. I think that there are a lot of places who do try to make this minority or underprivileged situation happen, but I think a lot of the times, because of government funding, it turns into enrichment programs and arts exposure programs versus, I don't want to say trade school, but trade school where we are grooming children for professional careers.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of like wiggling. So I sent my proposal, and I got a call from her. I like freaked out. She like FaceTimed me, and she said, it's a go. We're gonna announce it tomorrow. And I was like, girl, I was just on an airplane. Like, I don't know what this even is. And she was like, we're going to announce it and we're going to see how people respond.
Okay.
And so I was like, I haven't even figured out my schedule. I don't even know how to split my time. I don't know any of this yet. And she was like, we're going to announce it and we're going to see. And then we announced it. And then the feedback and the response was huge. It was like this overwhelming thing. And there was no negativity associated with it. I thought I was going to get a lot of backlash. But I just
backlash. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you kidding me?
No, but you know the way social media works, everyone has an opinion and everyone can voice that opinion. So I thought there might be backlash. I didn't know if students would receive me well going into a predominantly African American dance community, and being Asian and being like, okay, we're doing this, we're going full force. But the response has been this most beautiful experience where I wish I could help more kids. And people are like, open up a program in Atlanta, open up a program in Miami, open up a program in Philadelphia. And
in Orlando.
Right. And I was just like, I want to help all of these kids so bad, but I need to start here because this is going to be my chance. And tomorrow we start the audition process to select our 24 kids. And it's
okay,
actually
so let me just so today, what's the date for that? Because this is going to be aired.
Oh yes, so on August 28th, which happens to be tomorrow, our entire team at a Ballet Education will be boarding flights to LA. So there will be about 9 of us going to LA to find 24 dancers of color, or you know, they can be white, who want to pursue ballet but maybe don't have the means or access. Especially in the LA area, a ballet school will run between $10,000 and $20,000 just in tuition.
Whoa.
So I was like, okay, you're doing this. We're great. We're here for it. Everyone is donating their time. And it was amazing because this woman in the UK was like, if people can't afford to audition, let me know. And so she Venmo'd me money so that kids didn't have to pay to audition. And then, you know, just like all these people reaching out and all of these amazing dancers and colleagues and friends of mine are like, if you ever need a guest teacher, I'll go teach for free. If you ever need like leotards, let us know. Like Freed has been very generous and was like, if you decide to choose all brown Pointe shoes, let us know and we will supply them. And it has been this like overwhelming, amazing experience where everyone wanted to know the story. So we were able to work with Debbie Allen because she is in TV, and we're going to produce YouTube episodes following these kids and following this process, trying to figure out building this program, renewing the arts in LA with this new Rhyme Center for the Performing Arts. And it's just this whole amazing experience of, this is my chance to help kids. And Rasta, one night we were talking on the phone and I had a lot of reservations because like my mom, who is not social media savvy, was like, I just saw you on Debbie Allen's Facebook. And I was like, yeah, yay. I forgot to tell my mom, by the way, about the news because it was all so fast. But he asked me a question, and I think this is like the most important question that we ask ourselves just as like human beings is, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? And for me, I'm never going to have children of my own. I have decided that I don't want kids. Oh, I say that, but then who knows? I might be adopting like 10 babies. Who knows? But what is the legacy that I want to leave behind? And I love the institution of ballet. I do. I think the Royal Ballet is beautiful. I love Marinsky. I love Bolshoi. I love Martha Graham. I love these huge institutions that have defined dance time and time again. But what I want to leave behind is I want to make a generation of dancers who are acknowledged based on their talent and not the color of their skin or their body type or their sob story, or not that it's a sob story, but using the media to create a story. I want to create a generation of dancers that people say they are good. And there's no denying
Period.
that. Yeah,
Period.
so whether you are Black, white, plus size, whatever, that when you're in the room and people see them, they go, that's a good dancer. That's a good mover. That's that. And I think that this might be my chance because the Performing Arts Center has its own theater built in. I think that there's going to be a shift in dance very, very soon. And when I say soon, I mean probably in the next 2 years with all these directors leaving, where the landscape of dance is going to change. And I want to be a part of that change for the better. And I know I'm going to make mistakes on the way. I don't think I'm perfect by any means. I make a lot of mistakes. But if this is my chance to start and building something, I think I should do it. And that's why I took the job.
Amen. And your legacy continues.
Yeah.
So this is going to air after you already have the audition. So what if there's a student watching the show that wants to be a part of the next season audition?
Yeah.
Tell us how to contact you and all that information.
So as of tomorrow, everything will go through the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. So you're going to go to her website, or the Debbie Allen Dance Academy website to apply. It's under programs and it's called DADA on Pointe, and all the information is there. And here's what I will say. Just because we started the season, if you want to be here and you want to work with me, and if you think that you are a candidate, throw your hat into the ring, because I'm either going to tell you we don't have space or no. But if there is that chance that I'm going to say yes, and it's going to open doors for you, you shouldn't hesitate on taking that chance. Because of this platform that I've been given through Ballet Education and now through Debbie Allen Dance Academy, we are going to help kids become more visible, especially kids of color or who do have a chance at making this a career. And I think that you should risk it all, because if you don't take that risk, you might never know. And when you turn 18, I don't want a kid to look back and not get a job and then be, well, if I was 14 and I had just gone to DADA or clinic or whatever, it could have been different, because it could have if you had just sent an email.
Well, we're going to leave it there. You are amazing, Mr. King. I am so ever proud of you. You and Miss Ashley. I respect your work. I can't wait to meet you in person once all this COVID-ness is over and craziness. I will continue to follow you. You're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your time. Everyone, David King, a ballet clinic, and with DADA. See you soon. Thank you guys so much.